fire.
Good evening, everyone. How are ya? This is a brand new night for Anime Analyst. Sorry we missed you on Monday, but as you can see, we're rebuilding our studio. Yes, we are. We got a whole new look for you. What do you think of it? We call it the talking room because we talk about everything we watch. Tonight's is Mobile Suit Gundam, The Witch from Mercury. And don't let the title be confusing, because it's a little condescending to me, if you ask me. But this is subtitled and dubbed, so it is really, and it's kind of a long, it's 24 episodes, so it's a bit of a story that they tell, and I don't know, it's kind of a dual part story because it's partially love story. It is partial rising up, Phoenix rising up from the ashes as that company was destroyed in the first episode, and then she got away from them with the Gundam, made it to Mercury, and then this is probably 20 years, 30 years later. I think, well, actually, no. If we count the numbers properly, I think Suletta was 4 or 5. It was her 4th birthday, right?
Okay. Yeah, it was like the 4th birthday.
Okay. And she's 16 in the anime, right?
She's in high school.
She was like 15, 16. So that would make it 11 years. So sorry, I didn't mean to say 30 when I meant 11. But then she comes back to the school because her mama makes her. And this is also, then the anime becomes a deception. And it's a lot of people trying to pull the wool over a lot of other people. I mean, it's like, it kind of feels like home here. Everybody you meet down here, you shake one hand with them while they're stabbing you in the back with your other hand. I mean, that's just, and this anime portrays that immensely. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that is correct. In the first episode when they were working on something and what did they call it? Like when they have a meeting and they attack them and
the board of directors, or are you talking okay, because you got the board of directors, those asswipes, and then you have the dueling board that approved the duels, and so you have, I forget what they're called, it was like a family or a group, but then there was the business, and this was the weird part. The top 5 or top 8 companies are on this board that kind of control everyone's life. So whoever's the richest and makes the most money controls. I mean, this is capitalistic society at its best.
The start part pretty amazing. It was but I think then it came too slowly, where the story develops and they develop but the first episode, it gave you the interest in the story and to see how it happens, how they escape from the attack, and how in the next time they show the Mercury, how she is unsocial with the thing.
Well, she's a silly girl. She's just a silly girl. Yeah, keep going. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, and then we have Miorine, which they get engaged. That was something out of the blue. I think they just have a duel and she beat him at.
The whole story revolves around that, because in the school, the top dog is automatically betrothed to the what do you call him, the CEO's daughter. All right, so that's a whole nother story within the other story. And just to let our listeners know, when Hussein was talking about episode 1, that's called episode 0 in anime. When the whole episode is just a backstory so you understand how everything else plays out, that's called episode 0. Because there was no forward movement in the story in that first episode. It was just, this happened, and now we got episode 1, we got her going to school, we got, so they call that episode 0 in anime. It's kind of silly, but it really, it's an etiquette that is across many anime. I mean, I have seen this, I would say 15-20% of the time that an anime has an episode 0. And all episode 0 is the backstory, so you understand what's going on. What do you think about that society? I mean, they all live in space, and they're calling Earthers like the dogs. I mean, it all started on Earth, and if you're from Earth, you're an Earther. I don't want to talk to you. I'm going to bully you, because that's what I'm supposed to do. I mean, damn. It makes
And like there are many scenes when they show them like they're in the space and they start flying from here to there. Like in some scenes, like they're like walking normally, and sometimes like they're just flying here and there.
Okay, well, I mean, I understand that because if you're in the school itself, there's gravity. But if you're going from the dorms to the school, there's no gravity in the pathways that go between the buildings. And I kind of get that because if you want to think about reality, and if you want to look at cost, all right, they're like on an asteroid and it's a school. Well, you don't want to put gravity everywhere because the asteroid doesn't have enough gravity, so you have to generate it. So that means you're paying a bill, and boy, have I been learning about bills. You got to pay a bill for each gravity section. So you don't want to put gravity down the wall. That's why they have those little cart things that you put your hand on. I'm trying to get my hand in the camera. I guess you can see it on the studio screen. You put your hand on the wall, and it kind of pulls you along to wherever you're going, and then when you get where you're going, the only thing they don't show, and I think that was the cause for the confusion, is they don't show the transition where you get out of the hallway where you walk, because I can imagine people be falling down all the time, because if you're coming from where you're not walking to, all of a sudden there's 1G, it's going to pull you right to the ground. There had to have been a lot of people tripping, especially as ditzy as they make this MC out to be.
And one more thing, like the animation on this one is really good. Like the movement of the robots and like how they have that thing, like for the like big size robots, they have the good animation, like the movement, they capture the fighting scenes. And what do you think about that animation?
Oh, I love that part. I mean, and I also like the part where if you don't have your own Gundam, the school supplies school, just like where we go to school, there's certain supplies that you get just from being there, and then there's stuff you have to bring from home if you want something your personal. So all the top dogs that were fighting, they all got their own Gundams. And to me, the biggest part of the story is when, because first they beat everybody, this is not, Suletta's not a witch, this is not a Gundam. Story there. Yes, it is a Gundam. It just has the human, which was her first child, and this is the part that, that's just, it's sick. I mean, it shows how depraved this woman is. She took her first child and put it into the machine, in the core of the machine. And I don't know how she did it, but, we learned that was her first child, and her second child was destined to basically be killed to be a permanent pilot for that Gundam. I mean, this chick is mean with her kids. I mean, no, there is no love there at all. And there's not much love in the director, the CEO does not have love for his daughter.
Mhm.
He being mean, they had to make their own business just to get her to make her father listen to her. I mean, these kids got to work hard. I would not want to go to that school. That is not, I do not wish that life on anybody. I mean, the whole thing was mean. And them tomatoes were weird. I didn't understand them because aren't tomatoes supposed to be kind of soft? And I mean, they were eating them like apples. I mean, those aren't tomatoes; those are apples. I didn't get that part. I mean, because I love tomatoes, and I'm like, I want a tomato. That's not a tomato. That's something else completely. You ain't dropping a tomato on the ground and it not getting squished, you know?
Yeah,
But
like
over,
he was hiding the code of the thing like in the tomatoes DNA. So like they have to show some fruit, and I think they selected tomatoes. So because I think that's available all around the world. Maybe
yeah,
that's why
it is
because
universal. But every other than the story itself, you were right about this anime. The direction, beautiful. The illustrations, awesome. Great view of space. I don't think they could have done any better with describing in just the area that they're in. Out in, I've learned to call it the big nothing. Because if you look in space and you go between the planets, there ain't nothing there. I mean, there is, space, but space is nothing. You have stars and, it's kind of weird, but everything that they could control in this anime, they did a great job with. The story kept its pace. It stayed on point. Direction, voice actors, illustration, everything was good. It doesn't seem like we had producers stepping on each other in this anime. It was really a high. I think it was a high quality anime that's worth watching. But heed our warning: you will be watching this 2 or 3 times to get it. It takes a couple. I've watched it 3 times now. I watched it when I found it first. I watched it again right at the beginning when we were starting this show just as an extra. And then I watched it again over the weekend to make sure, that's how I keep, and when I'm talking about these animes, that's how I like to keep it. I watch it again to refresh my memory of everything that's about it, and I enjoyed it all 3 times. I have no problem. I'll go back and watch it again. I think it's worth it. It's worth giving this, 2 or 3 looks. And every time I go back and watch it, I see something new that I missed before, or at least in my own mind, I think I missed because I'm like, oh, I don't remember that from the last one. Now, let me ask you something. You know how they had the fighting scenes, right? They would get everybody in the arena, and then they hit a button, and the whole arena would change to a different format, different mountain ranges, different. Man, that would be cool, would it not? I mean, just have a whole section where you can just. Oh, I want it to be a ocean. I want the rocks over here. No, let's put in a streetscape.
don't you think like it resembles something about like the birdie wing in the wolf, like when we were watching that show for the golf, they have that kind of arena where they just pushing the buttons and they were changing the mountains, the things, and that they this is like that. So but I was confused, like when the arena is like simple, like they get it, it seems like a really small one, but as soon as they start the duel, it feels like they're in the space, like there is no end to it, like the robots are like flying here and there. throwing each other, and that plays like,
Do
but
you
from the,
do you remember in, I think it was episode 2? It was when she was first pulling up, and they had the really wide shot of the whole school system, where it had, you could see everything on top, and how it had big dishes, and it had the school buildings were small when they were first pulling up to it, and you could see the arena, and it, that thing looked like a quarter of a planet. I mean, from the outside view, to me, it was astronomically huge, and they had more than one. I think there was three different arenas, and so when they do, and I agree with you to a point, it looked small when they were first starting, and then as soon as they start fighting, all of a sudden it seems like you have a whole world to go to, and it, when you look on the outside, there's a roof that is not that high, but when you get in the inside, all of a sudden that roof is 50 stories up there. There's a lot of space in there in the arena that they're using. At least that's what I saw when I watched it. So what would you give it as an overall? Let's use our 1 through 10 scale. I give Mobile Suit Gundam: The Witch from Mercury, I give it an 8.5.
okay, so I think because I just watched it one time and I am little bit confused on some things, so I would place it like 7. But maybe like, because if I watch it again, because it's happened like when you're watching first time, you miss many things. Like when you watch it again, then your mind pick up the things like, okay, so this was
It
the
was
story.
it's one of those animes that almost requires you to watch it, you know, at least twice. I've watched it 3 times, and I think I got a pretty good grasp on what's going on. Um, the fan club that has about 150,000 members, they gave it a 7.8. And if you round up on that to 6, that would actually be a 7.9. Um, and it is ranked in the top 1,000, but I can see where people would downgrade it because they didn't understand it. Especially, you get a lot of these reviewers that watch individual episodes, and they can't, all of a sudden they're reviewing it on one episode. That's why we do the whole season here, because you can't get a grasp of an anime watching one episode. Because imagine watching this. We got a few minutes here, so imagine watching this with without seeing episode 0. You want to talk about confusion, because you'd be like, well, why are they fighting over this? I mean, this is dumb, there's no, so that backstory is required. Now, what do you think about, without giving away, what do you call them again?
Spoilers.
Spoilers. Without giving away any spoilers, what do you think about how it ended?
I would say beautifully. Like how they give the
I kind
ending.
of think
Like,
she got a raw, I think Suletta got a raw deal.
no, I was talking about like the individual characters. Like how.
Uh-oh. And what we have here is a freeze up going from Hassan. He'll be back in a minute here. All right, he
Yeah.
has returned. All right, we'll try that one more time.
Like I was talking about the very end, like where they were just giving like the last minute story of the
Oh,
characters.
okay. So
Like,
yeah, you're going beyond what I was. I was looking at the whole last episode, and honestly, I don't like the way they ran the capitalistic society. That whole society pisses me off. So I would be on, Suletta's side from the beginning. That's messed up how they run their life. I mean, you are judged on whether or not you're making enough money to send up the line. And if you're not making it, doesn't matter how good of a person you are. I like the society that we live in now, where you're judged on your morals, not your wallet. Oh, you got a fat wallet, so you're good to go. Oh, you only made 100 million last year? Oh, you suck, because the other guy made 150 million, so you're out. I mean, that's what they did in the beginning. There was, what did he say? There was 2,000 employees. He's like, well, they lose their job. You cut off their funding. So, gone. I mean, they're throwing around 100 million like it's $10. I'm like, wow. I'm all for let's make our own money. I got no problem with that. But basing your society on that money when they did not tell you in the anime the overall picture. You got no idea on Mobile Suit Gundam on the scale of the world. Because right now, we're Earth and that's it. We have not gone to the other planets in our solar system yet where they have. They got Mercury. They're living on asteroids. But past that, I think they mentioned one other planet. But other than that, how big is the society? I think they could have done better on explaining, they should have given more backstory on the world. I think. I mean, I guess it boils down to opinions on, whether or not you care or whether or not, you want to know information. But I like to know give me an idea, give me an overall picture of the world. Are we talking 500 planets with 100 billion people? Or are we talking, right now on Earth we got 7 billion people. When they showed the pictures from Earth, it looked like there was even more. So we don't know the overall picture of the backstory, which you don't need it to watch the anime, but I like it when writers fill that in. I like when they build the prim and proper back world, I guess you could say, just to give you an idea, because to me it seems like, this whole community of businesses that they didn't even show where they were at in pertaining to, now it may not have mattered, but I'm kind of curious, I mean, they were all talking, but the students seemed to have easy access to these guys, because they went into the courtroom, they were around them physically in the same room. So were they at the school? Or why were they, why are all the top leaders of all the companies, and how are you going to run a company if you're millions of miles away from your company? I mean, wow. So, aside from the unanswered questions, I still give it a thumbs up. And I still recommend this anime if you want to watch it. It kind of reminds me of Classroom of the Elite. Doesn't it? On how they set up the conversations, and the conversations in this anime are important. You need...
Yeah, but like it feels like sometimes they bring too many things together. Like they are bringing too many ideas on a same thing. Like, but with the classroom of the elite, it was completely different thing. It is something like that, but I would say like this thing is like too many things at the same time. Like they're bringing different ideas to the thing where like it's getting...
Well, honestly, that's why you and I are here, because even though we agree on most stuff, we still don't agree all the time, and you don't have to enjoy the anime and talk about it. I mean, when you're talking to your friend about it, if everybody agrees on everything, then I mean, there's honestly nothing to talk about. You're like, you like it? Yeah, I loved it. What? All right, you loved it? All right, okay. Got a pizza? Let's get a pop. Give me a beer. And the conversation's over. So you got to have different opinions, and that's what we try to bring. You can have your different opinion. You can like it. You can not like it. It does not matter. We're all about anime. That's all we care about. We want to watch anime. We're sick of commercials, and the regular TV station, they can go take a flying leap. I am not paying them to watch a half hour of a show and a half hour of the same freaking commercials every 10 minutes. I timed it. Mom was watching one of them popular shows, and it was 8.9 minutes between commercials. And at the bottom of the hour, they showed a whole set of commercials. You went back to the show for a minute, and then a whole nother set of the same freaking commercials you just saw. So come to anime. Come to anime. We don't have commercials. Well, one day we'll have a commercial here, but we will keep it to one. We won't go overboard on commercials. And you can call me on that, and I'm sure everybody will. So, you got anything else to add about this anime?
No, I think we completely sum up the anime, like, and we both give it a thumbs up. And I would also suggest the viewers to, if they haven't watched it, they should watch it. It's a nice anime.
All right. So, you know what? I better look on the damn calendar because I said the wrong day last week. All right, so this is Wednesday. So we'll see. Oh, no, that was Fridays. I messed up the thing on it. I thought it was a Wednesday. But today is Wednesday, so we will see you on Friday. We'll be bringing you a whole new anime, so make sure you watch those animes and make a comment. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share us. And don't hesitate to type a comment in. We will answer every comment we get it, and we'll see you on Friday. So have a good hump day.